Alright, so hopefully this is working. Yeah, looks like it's working. Alright, so let's see here. Well, where to begin? Alright, well, obviously this is U-Boat. Sandbox slash, submarine simulator, depending on difficulty settings you have it on, is 19th May 1941. Starting this recording a little late. I'm into maybe my 4th or 5th patrol. We have the batteries in this thing are able to last longer. That's an upgrade. Upgraded the toilet for troop morale, sailor morale, I guess, and it's all in the time period in 1941, which is available to upgrade or research. So currently, the current situation in game is we're silent running. Currently, I think it's off the English coast, not too far away, because I tried to go into a port, and there's nothing inside the port. It is empty, except for a couple patrol boats, which you'll see here. Zoom out there. The position of the submarine is over here, in case you're watching on a phone or something. My patrol area, which is designated by headquarters, is obviously the North Sea. I think the designator is like Alpha November 43 or something like that. My main port is over here, port of Bruggen. I think it's Bruggen. When I first started this game, I started off in this port. I'm in U-96. And after, I think, the 3rd or 4th patrol, I requested to be relocated to this port. Since I've been here, my first patrol was, off in the Norwegian Sea. I read some comments that go in there, during or, a certain time period. 1941 is not too much traffic. Hence, why we're so close to a port. Have yet to see any major convoys or traffic, so we're sitting at 0 tonnage. Before you leave the port, you're tasked with, patrolling 2,000 kilometers of the patrol area, sink the enemy trade ship with at least a 4,000 total tonnage. We're sitting at a big fat donut because we haven't seen anybody. My last mission, or my last patrol, I took orders to go into Scapa Flow here, the naval base, Scapa Flow. And I had, there's headquarters research that you can do, which is actually happening over here, get that later, where they recon the base. And these here are, obviously mines, locations, and then, nets that you can get stuck on. So I actually approached from this side, sank, I think it's like um, two destroyers, which was the mission, and then egressed out of there. Got pretty banged up, pretty much. If I can look those up right now, pictures of that. Picture. Is this it? Nope. Picture. Where is this? Recent. Okay, here we go. So that's the conning tower is a little manipulated there. Some, darkened areas because actually, as I was egressing or leaving, those short batteries actually spotted me, and started opening up, hit me 3 times. Luckily, there was no casualties. I was able to put the decks awash with the conning tower sticking out of the water. The crew, saved the submarine. They were able to make repairs, and I basically went back. Got lots of points. So currently, coming out of the port over here, leaving Lithia, traveling east. I came across coastal defense patrol boats. They're basically little British torpedo boats, if you will. This is their sound signature, their general location, because they are now my backwash, the aft of the submarine, so I have a complete fix on them. was about a patrol of like 3 at one point. And because I don't want to get spotted, over here on normal settings, you get a noise decibel radar signature and sonar detectability. And when you're on surface, there if the probabilities of the sun, where the sun is, or the moon even. Obviously, you have the moon or sun behind you, a little percentage increase will start to fluctuate. Depending on the situation or where the ships are relative to your position. So that's the general situation I'm currently in. So I guess let's see here. I guess going over the menu screen. Over here you got the battery capacity, 99%. What I like about this game is that it gives the details, the very minute details. Like, all right, I'm losing battery. What's eating at the battery? Aside from the electric engines and the gyroscope, which is 2 minutes, and they'll be depleted in 19 hours and 44 minutes if we maintain this speed. You have the fuel. Same thing happens when the diesel engines are on. It gives you minute details of what's consuming fuel. This is the oxygen level. The freshness of the air on the boat may be increased in many ways, but the best way is to simply service the boat. The crew, it's about 5 minutes, minus 5 minutes, because there's about, I think I took about 16 guys on this patrol. Silent running, that increases. It's a 15% minus usage, so you'll save oxygen in that category because with silent running, we put the little blue light inside the submarine. Crew members aren't moving around as much, not taking as much oxygen. You get a reputation score depending on how well you do per patrol. That translates into stuff you can unlock on in headquarters. Your budget, your income that you're able to utilize, which I love about this game. It's a management game. When I was younger, I played Aces of the Deep. I played the Silent Hill series, or Silent Service series. Pretty much all of them. Silent 5 was the last one, but it was full of bugs. So a good one, on the simulation side. But still fun nonetheless. But after I think you got so far, there's just a lot of like minute details and bugs that were just like ruining your experience after you already invested maybe 200 hours of sailing around the ocean. Anyway, so then moving on to the controls. You got your telegraph, controlling speed, forward, reverse. Got your depth indicator, depth gauge, and more or less you got crash depth, periscope depth. Dex awash is basically you have the conning tower poking out. Then you have surface. You can change the left or right, starboard or port controls. And you have the map, which I'm already on, which is I clicked it. So this is the world map, obviously. Tactical map will snap you into. If you wanted to play like this way, you can actually see what's going on around you. Which I don't think is that immersive, so I don't really ever use that. So what they really implemented here recently in the latest patch is travel mode. So as opposed to hitting the times1 times5 when you're in travel mode in quotations, time is compressed. I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but time goes by a lot faster than I guess it would be before the last previous patch. You'd hit times5 and you have to sit here. Maybe going from 485 kilometers, and you probably sit here for like 10 minutes, and that's not very fun. So then, they got rid of that to where, when you're in travel mode, obviously it's risk. You have your risks. You got travel mode, whereas you're traveling at a very fast, pace, and time compression. You're kind of relying on your crew to spot and/or hear aircraft and airplanes before you run into them, it does slow the game down for like a split second, but you have to be quick on the pause button. Um, so that's what you got going on already. You got the journal, management of the crew, headquarters. So you understand what's going on with that. So what I really like is you have the weather right here. The depth on the keel, your grids, your your location on the map, the knots of the wind, and what day it is, how long you've been out there, time at sea, 8 days and 3 hours at sea. Click on the menu. You got U-boat, you know, U-boat encyclopedia, I guess. If you don't know too much about submarines, growing up, I read a lot about that stuff, so I, have a pretty solid knowledge of it. History Channel jazz. Click on headquarters here. Obviously, higher headquarters. I have a leader of the U-boat here. He was, researching a military stash, and now we're gonna have, i.e., more torpedoes or food to pick from, this and everything. So I guess starting
Wir sind schon so
from
lange auf See. Ich halte es nicht mehr aus.
starting from the back of the submarine, obviously you have the electric engines here. Got your compressor, workshop area, your aft tube. What I really like about this game is to say you can tell, alright, so there's about 3 escorts, maybe 2 destroyers and a corvette. It's going to be a while, and you have to conserve and maneuver the boat while watching your battery and your oxygen. You know what I mean? So you typically can secure that part of the ship by hitting this little button right here, or you hit the little button right here where it turns up, basically shutting the power off of that section of the submarine. Obviously that's not a great idea right now because it's the battery operated engine that's driving the propellers of our submarine. So to cut off the power here would not be detrimental, but would put us dead in the water. This right here is the engine room where the diesel, the guts I guess the heart of the submarine is
Diese
located.
Routine bringt mich Jeden Tag das Gleiche.
Excuse me. Alright, so right here you have the engine room. You know what I'm saying? So right now there's nothing going on in the engine room. I can turn these off. It'll increase the battery power by a little, by like 10 minutes or so, maybe even less. Fully depleted, 6 knots. So we got 39 minutes at 6 knots, because I've actually been underwater for quite a while now at this speed. But that's off. He's cooking, so he's using power. I'm not gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone. But since we're in the galley, you have where they actually cook whatever foods. All right. Let's see. Here's not doing anything. This guy. All right. So you right click, open storage room. You have to actually manage your your food, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like previous games, I think it might have been maybe Silent Hunter 4 or 3 maybe. You would manage your crew. They would get tired. It's just like sleep cycles more or less, and depending on like the guy's sleep bar would mess with the efficiency of whatever he was in control of. But you bring this up. This is what's in the galley. This is what they're utilizing now, and this is what's in this is what's in the storage room. These are some replacement parts for damages and such. I just recently bought these. These are sonar decoys that they put in the stern of the torpedo room. They create false target sonars. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just do your own research. And then you got potassium absorbers for carbon dioxide and all that jazz to increase the extending the oxygen inside the submarine, or say if the batteries had flooding and there's water everywhere, to basically get that toxic fumes or whatever the batteries are putting off if there's water and seawater and all that jazz mixing together. So this is a galley. It's like kilograms, I believe, 47 pounds of that crap. Got 47 cans or 25 cans meat, beef. So yeah, I could put I put these in there, and troop or the sailor morale will increase because there's a variety of dishes. But then somebody did the math on it. It's basically subtracts, I think it's like 6 units a day. Um, and that's if you put, fill these galley slots open with three other, that's what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's like 18 units of food gone in one day, as opposed to 6 a day from 1 unit of food. Yeah, it's like, all right, hey, yeah, boys, we're eating potatoes for the first, week, but it's tough luck. So it's galley. You got your deck gun storage. You got your explosive ammunition, usually utilized for shooting on the deck, obviously to cause fire. And you have your AP rounds, which is usually you want to put below the water line. And then for whatever reason you have flares. Can't really be in a submarine. Maybe if I want light or something like that for some particular reason. Got your flag gun at 3,000 rounds, 225 of the AP. Stuff to tear through. Usually you want to shoot that stuff at the cockpit to tear up the brains of the airplane. And HE, the tail and wings where the fuel's stored, blah blah blah. Alright, so ventilation, there's nothing there right now. I could put these in there, but total waste of resources. Alright, so right here you have your crew quarters where your guys are chilling. If my guys were surfaced in normal sailing circumstances and not silent running, I could have them play a deck of cards here to improve their morale. They're not going to flip out if they sit in the dark here. We're conserving energy. Even though we're not a threat, it's demonstrating and talking at the same time. Here you got your pump, and obviously the external pressure equals to 4 atmosphere. Pump's performance is decreased by 14-50%. Obviously, so the deeper you go, the better, I suppose, or vice versa. So this is the control room. I've only, set a particular depth, and a course, and I turned off the control room to conserve energy. I think once so far, because it was I think it was 2 destroyers, and they actually one of them had active sonar searching me and pinging the crap out of me. So I think I literally spent a good like 20 minutes, 25, almost 30 minutes trying to get away from these dudes in real time, and the oxygen was extremely low. Uh, yeah, so that was entertaining. Obviously made it out. So that means that little chime there let me know that there's a waypoint made. So now we're gonna start turning left and here, start heading northeast and try to maybe catch a convoy outside here. Is the attempt behind that. So, anyways, that's the control room. You got the officers' room, and then outside the officers' room, you got the radio room, which you'll utilize, transmitting coded messages from headquarters, etc. The sonar room, obviously, your listening room.
Diese Routine bringt mich
So
um.
that
Jeden
directed
Tag
range is
das
3K.
Gleiche.
Group detection range is about 46 kilometers, which is pretty decent. Obviously, um, I do have a sonar slash radio man. He's way more efficient at it than this Hugin guy is. He's more or less the navigator. Um, and obviously, you rotate roles so people get rest. And then after that,
Diese Routine bringt mich
you
um.
have the
Jeden
bow
Tag das
torpedo room.
Gleiche.
Right now, since there's not much going on up top, I'm having the chief torpedo man basically preheat the torpedoes, which he's doing right here. It increases the less likely of a dud. So if you spend a lot of time getting to position, you fire 3 torpedoes, which you don't have too many of,
Diese
and
Routine bringt mich
out of
um.
those 2 or 3 you
Jeden Tag
shoot
das
and 2 of them are
Gleiche.
duds, it's pretty frustrating. So if I turn the power off, he's not able to utilize his job or do it. Utilize. And then up here, I usually turn this off if I'm below periscope depth to conserve power. Uh, more or less, I secure that area so the hatch is closed and everything like that. Because something pops off and or damages up there, it's not leaking. It's leaking into the control room. So that's how you can. There's different views of how to play this game. You can go in the first person. This is the captain, Mr. Graf. Second in command is Mr. Huygen, or Hegu, German names. The radio slash sonar man is Osterman. The torpedo specialist, is Vacher. Or not Vacher, W, German. And the chief engineer, more or less, is Uldorp. And the dive master, more or less, who I'm determining his uh, title is dive master, Mr.
Der
Muser.
Dienst in der Marine hat Tradition in meiner Familie.
So you can configure your crew however you want. Still playing and experimenting. So I have 3 engineers, 1 technician. Technicians are the guys that mess with the electronics, the radio and the sonar, or the hydrophones. And then you have your leaders, which are the guys that can do the navigating and then work the periscope, the attack periscope, and the UZO for surface decks. So then, obviously, you have a blue bar here, or a gray bar with blue um, indications. The green bar, like let's see here, this guy, Vacher, or Vacher, Alfred Vacher, the torpedo specialist. The blue bar is his, fatigue state, or I guess how awake he is. His green bar is his experience, which, you know, grows over time, or you gain it over time. So for instance, this guy right here has a little pillow. That means he's sleeping. The captain right here has been navigating underwater for quite some time. It's pretty low, uh, which leads to navigation not being as accurate per se, which you do have to watch for. Oh crap! Because say like over here on the navigation details, uh, you have a navigation percentage. It says navigation correctness. If that falls at 0%, and I think it's maybe like 2 minutes at 0%, your submarine disappears from the map, and you can travel in any direction or anything like that, but you have to have either the captain or his second mate or whatever, or first mate, stand by the map, and they correct it. And it takes quite a minute, and it's pretty annoying if you're trying to shadow a convoy or attack one. So any point in time, you can zoom in to the submarine. This right here is obviously the hydrophone detection circle. So ships inside that, or even outside of it sometimes, or for example, he'll still detect convoys and such, or ships outside that circle. Ships inside the circle, you'll actually see them on the minimap, if that makes sense, because he's really tracking their location. So that's the crew. That's how you work the ship. Press M, you go off the map. So currently, oh yeah, so I don't know why I stopped at oxygen. So I skipped discipline. Discipline's really important. Yeah, I skipped discipline. So discipline, okay. It's obviously the discipline of the crew. And the negative fix are the current depth, even though we're at periscope depth, or I think we're at 30 meters. Yeah, we're at 30 meters, and it's kind of always a negative -2 because they're underwater for duration. You got a base +2s because we're nearing the end of the patrol. It's really up to my decision on whether or not we should go back or not, but at least I want to get at least one ship, beneath the waves before we head back. But that's all determining on, the fuel. But, 9% of the time, we run out of food long before we run out of fuel, especially drive around in, the Eastern Atlantic. So, you have, long durations underwater, depth charge attacks. You do have crew when it's at 8% right now, so I have 11 hours till it's fully depleted. And have I had people or discipline go to 0? Yes, and then usually somebody panics. Then you have the option to, I guess, shoot people if they're, leave their post or whatever, or you can knock them out, or just sit there and calm them down, that kind of thing. Which usually isn't that big of a deal, but usually it's I haven't had it impact the crew that much when it happens because we were already out of harm's way. And what if you go to the community page, which is kind of under, or I guess the subject matter is the alarm, more or less, because it'll. So when, yeah, you don't really control the alarm state, uh, and that makes sense to me because if you did control the alarm state, then you can manipulate the mechanics. So I think the alarm state where it's at is fine right now because obviously, unless you break contact with those patrol boats, which I did, they are now out of alarm state. An alarm state, I think, might be 2 minutes, and messes with the discipline. And so you have to break contact eventually. So you can't be as careless, if that makes sense. Um, you have to apply more strategy and tactics to break contact, and then take care of your crew and your morale. You know what I mean? So then you actually enjoy playing the game. You're more invested in the personnel. When you go to port, you actually you know know these guys' individual names, and they gain character traits, this and everything. So it's pretty neat. Um, Obviously, you got your buoyancy, so you got your little helping tools. So the guy I have him researching on military storage that some parsons might have been hidden away on Eastern Europe somewhere. So now I'm able to do the long distance travel. Our boat is now open to sea from far or anything else. Travel speed on the map is now much faster. So we're traveling a lot faster than on the map than per se. I guess like in the camera view. So you're not. So I'm not sitting here like playing the game for 3 days and only come across one convoy. Um, so that's how that all works. So then you have your camera angles. I like playing from this view. I can zoom out. Uh, puts the submarine back together. It doesn't cut into sections. It's a very beautiful game. It's still obviously early access. Obviously it's extremely dark because it's 2040 at night, and but during the day, you know, the game looks beautiful. And then obviously even when you're down here in the water, if the depth charges are close, there's light effects, and depending on the time of day, sometimes you can see the depth charge like in the background and exploding, and it's off in the distance. You even got some fish down here. I'm not sure if you can see those. But it's very immersive, very in the acoustics. Like I've been underwater, but not in a submarine. But it sounds pretty authentic to me. So you have that. You can zoom further out. Zoom in. Get closer. I kind of like to keep it at this, I guess zoom level because I like to manage the submarine like this. You can get even closer if you want. Go from one section to the other. And you can even, go to first person if you'd like. So, for example, our navigation's pretty solid. So, say like stuff's popping off and you need guys, you can just click on
Erkaloi,
their location. It snaps the camera to their
Kapitän,
location, so you're not sitting here. Just, oh, where's this guy? With different dudes running back and forth the submarine. So we'll click on the captain here. Navigation's pretty solid. We're at 100%. 100% navigation correctness. So then you still have the option to manage him, tell him to go to sleep. He can add or subtract sailors to his tasks, if you will. And you can tell him to leave this position, and then you take over in full person view, or first person. All right, so that's pretty cool. That looks gorgeous. Because the biggest thing, or the longest, I think the coolest or most requested thing for a long time, at least in the like sub sim community, um, which is request was hey, walk around the submarine. So you're able to do that, which I like. Another thing which I like is pretty cool is you have the ability to use a little flashlight here. You can walk around the submarine. Guys being a good sailor, basically sweeping without being told to do so. Got some cooking going on, obviously. This is the engine room, but it's dark as all sin. Turn on a light, you can see the pistons. Go back to
Der
the
Dienst in der
electric battery
Marine
room
hat
slash
Tradition
aftermarket
in
room.
meiner Familie.
Chilling here. Somebody's girlfriend or wife, I'm sure. Obviously, whoop. Oh, geez, I turned around. Alright, go through the hatch. There you go. So you got the skipper's desk. So you open your log, put your little personal notes in there. His bunk. You got the radio room, listening room, officer quarters, the sailor's quarters, and then the bow where the torpedo tubes are. So that's pretty cool. And you know, all you have to do is you just, at least I do anyways, is roll back on the mouse, and there I am standing there with the flashlight still on. You know, so you can snap. Very friendly, or very UI friendly, I guess, for any new players. Yep. So oxygen's at 46%. It's 030, 040 now. And we're just gonna go to periscope depth, make sure there's nothing on the
Auf
surface, just
Seerohrtiefe gehen!
floating there.
Herr Kaloy?
Probably let this guy go to sleep. The radio guy got bored, so now
Kapitän?
he's gonna let him
Herr Kaloy?
rotate out. So now he's listening. Watch the submarine surface, or at least go to periscope depth. You even got the periscope, you know, poking out of the water. I'm not sure how well you can see this because it's dark. That's the observing periscope. Observation periscope, usually utilized for, you know, looking for airplanes and scanning the surface before popping to the surface. Captain's sleeping, so he's gotta get, you know, his bar refilled, catch some Z's. So then you switch to the map here, and because I'm pretty sure it's because it's foggy out, the sight circle is very small. If we were able to, oh no, we're able to measure that. It's about just under 3K, maybe less. Yeah, so about 2K roughly. And obviously the sight picture increases and decreases as the waves crash over said observation periscope. So that's basically the mechanics in a nutshell. So from here, nothing on the surface. It's all good. Or the surface. Guess we'll watch this baby. U-96, go ahead and pop the surface. Only going 6 knots. So low air reserves. That's the ballast tanks. The game lets you know that, alright, you were at 100%, you depleted it. So now there's, you know, positive buoyancy in the submarine because we're surfacing, so the boat's rising. You're utilizing compressed air, so you run out of that. So now we're obviously surfaced. You know, I have to turn this on, open that compartment so they can utilize and crawl up the conning tower to get to the, the conning tower deck. So we shall have. Let's see. This is a gyroscope that helps with navigation, especially when you're underwater. Gyroscope's operational. Little compasses on board to point north. This information decreases their chance to get lost by 60%. So if you turn this off and he's just navigating, it takes longer for him to correct or track our position. You have your echo sounder. That is the bad boy that, you know, sends a ping down below the submarine for deep or shallow. And obviously, if you ping that while there's hostiles or destroyers in the area, they can fixate your position. It's only one little ping. So right now this is telling us there's 1.6 millimeters of water remaining in the compartments, which is right here because the hatch, it does obviously, water does fall in here. So every once in a while, you know, tell this
Kapitän.
guy, you know, go ahead and turn that on. It does cause noise. So again, you have to, you know, play around with the risk and reward of turning on my pump. That's going to cause noise with destroyers overhead. Kind of don't want that to happen. So then obviously, you know, the compressed air is at 58%. Come back here, diesel compressor. Tell that guy to flip that on. It'll recharge the compressed air so you can dive continuously or later on. Turn these on since we're surfaced. So the crew's not bugging out. Tell that guy to sleep. Tell this guy he's doing something.
Kapitän.
So you can queue stuff up. You see over here by hitting control. You can tell this dude to come over here, put normal lighting on, because it actually improves morale for some reason. And then I'm gonna have him come up here and then, you know, conduct observation. So he switches the light back over to the white, clear light. So then sometimes, you know, it's a little buggy. Like the power's actually on, the lights should be on, but they're not. This is a save game. Sometimes if I save it, re-enter the game, you know, little bugs like that go away. So because I have an officer on deck scanning, you know, I can add sailors to the observation. You'll see the sight increase. So I can put 2 up there, 2 slots, and it automatically, you know, extends. Oh boy, are we still recording? Yes. So there's, you know, 3 for 3. You got officer and 2 increases, you know, because there's 2 sailors. The range of the observation and aiming speed increases by 50%. If it's just 1 sailor, it'd be 25. If it wasn't anybody at all, then, you know, you're down 25%. You know, recon or whatever. So let's see here. That's basically how that rolls. You just gotta manage sure that they have sleep. Rotate them out because they'll stay on that station until they're almost ready to pass out. You know, then they're not really running that station as efficiently as they should be. This guy's running general maintenance on the torpedoes, greasing them, you know, and heating them up, etc. He's not anymore because, you know, they're all done. So that's the general gist of, you know, what's going on up top. So I didn't hear the guy say diesel, so we're gonna do it manually and switch, you know, to head standard. Yeah, now it's, you know, 8 in the morning, or 09 currently. Yeah, the game's really, or at least my graphics card, take the UI off, is really showing off the game's graphics. The water's immaculate, in my opinion. Calm waters. Oh man, it's a beautiful game. I enjoy this when I want to relax after a long day at work. So I can take over this and do this manually. So I can go to manual mode, you know, do all the torpedo jazz myself.
Kapitän.
Or I can leave this position, you know, walk around the deck of the boat if I want to, or the conning tower. Get on the AA and shoot some AA for whatever reason. You know, I can, well, not with this guy, but you can hang out. You can unflare a flag, the German cross flag if you wanted. You know, press B, pull up little binoculars in that direction. That's letting me know that, you know, we just, you know, hit another checkpoint. So now we're, you know, sailing towards it. Alright, so you got patrol complete, missing radio operator. It's not entirely true. He's just, I mean, we're not missing him by any means. Just the station's missing him. He's still sitting on the hydrophones. So I have to manually switch him to the radio. And then, you know, since there's, I guess, radio frequencies within range, you're able to hit patrol completed. You know, it fills up. Depending on his skill level is how fast that fills up. And then you get currency for, you know, completing tasks like that, which is nice. And if you look over here in the bottom right corner, it's kind of like a quick snapshot of what they're doing. He's preheating the torpedoes, conducting torpedo maintenance. He's obviously listening to the radio, scanning the radio frequencies. And our second mate is our first mate. Is currently, he's a cook. He's cooking. Cooking is this officer's hobby. He is currently cooking at the caboose to better integrate with the crew. So that's because he's doing that. That's 7+ morale, and we have 2+, because the patrol's completed. Obviously, who's not excited about going home? You have plus 10% for normal lighting, and in 6 minutes, the discipline will be at 100%. So you have to manage, your batteries, your fuel, oxygen intake, as well as your discipline, of your crew, which is pretty neat, as opposed to, riding around in a submarine, your crew's a bunch of bots, and, they don't have any emotion, I guess, or rest cycles. So, he's also the medic, because you do take casualties, or not casualties, but people do get wounded. He does have like a little medic pack that you can invest in, and depending on his medical skills, determines on whether or not he's able to heal them, or save them, or send your thing. Then you have your plotting tools over here. And then, so then what I think is really cool, they implemented, same morale's like doing super trashy, which it isn't, but if it is, say you just came out of a long friggin', a long dive and you've been submerged for forever and the oxygen almost ran out because you had destroyers, dropping depth charges for the past like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, real life, or, IRL in real life. You can click on one of these as long as your radio operators man the radio station, and listen to some tunes.
I hear hello.
So then you see the green arrows bump up, and now we have music plus 10. It's a Valkyrie. So then, what I like is it's not too loud for me. The monotone. Obviously zoom in. It sounds like they're like blasting that stuff, but usually, I'm looking at the map, just ever so slightly hear it in the background. It doesn't bother me. Alright, so right now we're still patrolling. Patrol's almost coming to a close because I don't want to burn all my food. It's already been 9 days, because the longer you're at sea, right now the fatigue is at -1, but obviously the longer you're at sea that increases. And it's hard to manage the discipline of the crew. So we're cruising along at 20 knots. If I want to get more speed for our fuel, I guess more bang for our buck, I could have one of the engineers. Let's see here. Boink. Have one of the engineers. He's sleeping. He's kind of standing around. Turn it on for a second. Boink. So we're gonna try it. I have the engine over me. So basically, you can add 2 sailors to him and tell him to, manage the engine. Come over here with 2 extra sailors, so it's a total of 5 personnel managing the engine compartment. And then once the, because the additional sailors, it says, -20 / towards navigation. So we're now, you'll see the speed increase, even though we maintain the head full. But we're going to be utilizing less fuel for that speed, if that makes sense. So it's more efficient. So now there's more sailors. It says additional sailors added. Engine percent is down 30%. So it's burning less fuel for still maintaining 20 knots, if that makes sense. And then depending on the sea conditions, it may increase or decrease, which is pretty authentic or cool in my opinion. So that's how that works. I'm actually gonna get those crew members off of there and put him back in the bunk. The navigator. You don't have to. You don't have to micromanage, but you're here to manage. Per se, he's navigating like he's supposed to be. But right now, you still have guys on watch, but still, again, the sight circle isn't as big as it could be, so you're still managing, that aspect of the game. So because it's in travel mode, it's going a little bit faster than normal. It's already like 1920, so the sun's going down already in the background, which is beautiful. Look at it. Isn't that nice? Little sun glare going through there. Ah, man. So, that's pretty much it. That's a general gist. Obviously, you have the deck gun. I highly recommend using it yourself because, especially when you first start out, the cruise is hugely inexperienced and the rounds go all over the place. Yeah, so that's basically the gist of the mechanics, anyways. The sun's going down, beautiful. So now zooming in, in the back, what's in the back of my head, like constantly, is, all right, how much chow do we have? So it's about, canned bread, some preserved pork, and canned meat, and probably like a day or two maybe of potatoes. So you could probably stay out here for another, let's see, 8 days maybe, but that's a long time, and you're fighting morale. Maybe not 8 days, maybe 6 more days. I think the longest I've been out here, or at sea, is maybe 15 days. And I think back then, like, most of them would only be like 12 days or something like that, if my memory serves me correctly. So obviously here, you got a checkpoint that I made, the ding ding. Means that, now we're turning, which I like. So if you're multitasking somewhere else, and you're wondering how far you've gone so far, and you hear that audible, like, oh, hey, we're turning, which is a big help, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. So there's items you can use. Sitting there chilling, you just chow. Where is it? Oh, so
Herr Kaloy?
you got the cabinet, storage goods.
Sehr wohl, Herr Kaloy.
You got the breather apparatuses. You have 3 of those. I have 1 diving suit because you can, if you play the tutorial, because of all the patches and stuff like that, it's kind of outdated and buggy. But say if you get the mission to, hunt down this particular, ship that has like top secret cargo or whatever that the British are, moving from one side of the world to the other, and they task you with sinking it. Sometimes I haven't tried it in the sandbox world, but one of the tutorials is you send a diver over to, acquire said, secret technology. So say you're like an oh shit factor or an oh shit moment pops off, your captain, your navigator are completely like tired from said depth charge attack, and they're still recovering. Let's see here. You just select them. Ensure that you have the person you want to drink the coffee. So this is right here, Alfred Watcher. All right, torpedo manager guy. You right click and it'll consume that coffee. It says it right there. Drink coffee. Your coffee offers energy by 20%. So you usually drink that twice. You're at 40% energy from where he was at before. Yeah. So it's not too exciting. Maybe because it's a new game, but it's also because of the time period. I've read on the on the uh, on the forums on Steam that during this period, I think historically there might have been like one sea lane going from this general direction, and maybe like single float and stuff. Maybe to the Norwegian or through Russia every once in a while, but not that. It's not as busy as being out here. The stuff coming from America, more or less, to England. I saw the biggest convoy I saw was about 20 ships out here, but they have boatloads of escorts already. So that was challenging. Almost didn't make it out of that one. But yeah, I highly recommend just staying on the west coast if you're getting this game and you're beginning, I guess. I wonder. I wish it told me how many patrols I did. Let's see. Headquarters, U-boat, journal. Yeah, so we're number 6, patrol number 6. That was right. All right. So before I got distracted, you got items, right? He's holding on to small arms, maybe used for officers going on dangerous missions outside. So sometimes you come across other U-boats. They're stranded. I usually let the captain do that, lead by example, right? And then he'll get on a little raft. Literally watch him get on a little raft, and he'll motorboat over there and determine the situation, this, that, and everything, which is pretty cool. Um, yeah, so that's the general. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else. Yeah, so the biggest part of the game is crew management. And the other half is, tactics and strategy. You got a little searchlight up here. Because it does get pretty dark, obviously, like like it would in real life. And if you still want to see, like, you want to break that immersion in your own game or whatever, and you still want to see like everything, you can mess with those settings. Um, so now that the patrol's over, or since we patrol our sector, I have a little bit more free reign. I can go wherever I'd like to. It's just now doing that, messing with the discipline or the fatigue level, which weighs on the discipline of the submarine crew, obviously. And then, I'm starting to dip into my food storage. Okay, this is you can't. You have to use that currency, which I talked about in the top right corner, to purchase this stuff. And you can't just buy 47 units of it offhand. This is stuff I accumulated over 5 patrols. If that makes sense. So we'll see, I guess. It's not too exciting right now because the North Sea. Not that it's not that chaotic. It's actually very boring. It's probably one of the more boring patrols. This is the second one. No, third. Oh yeah. So it says it's probably second. No, third one. Because so I did 3 over there and 3 over here. So wish I stayed over there at the other base. What base was it? Like contrails. Oh, that's great. Contrails. If you know anything about military or terminology, I guess that's an airplane. It's bad. So is that if that means they see contrails. So because let's see here, the spot. So the crew up top sees contrails, and the contrails are coming towards us. You can report that as long as the radio operator is manning that position. You get 150 currency for that. All right, so I don't mess around. So I generally dive. Dive. So then they react. He's blowing the ballasts. Usually once he blows the ballast, I have Mr. Mueller basically supervise and manage the diving. I like to think he goes a little bit faster, the diving portion.
Kapitän.
You have him switch to the sonar. Hopefully we can make it the water before the airplane spots us. Depth of the keel is like 137, so I'm not worried about them bottoming out. Just want to get underneath the waves.
Wechseln auf E-Motor.
Yeah, I'm happy. So we'll say
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Jack it back down though. It's slow. Oh yeah, contrail. So, me, after investing so many hours in this crew and the experience and all that, I'm not willing to, I don't care if that's friendly or hostile, I'm just going to dive anyways. And I think, obviously, with the more experience your crew has, they might be able to identify that sooner than later. But more or less, if you look over here at both watch officers, if you will, the captain and the first mate, both sleeping, thus the sight circle was smaller. And if one of them was actually up there with maybe 2 additional sailors, they might have identified it and this and everything. So now that we're underwater, it's just like this is basically just like a suggested course. This is, with the question mark. That's the course it maintained. If we, that's just a, general location of this, contrail slash airplane. So that's not it's the exact position. So that's why, this big circle means that it can be located in any of this, uh, with the time and distance and the range it was spotted. This is the, more or less the estimated circle of can still be freaking here circle. All right, it's about 8 p.m. I'm getting tired. So, the airplane's inconveniently made us dive. So yeah, there's a lot of downtime, and most of the time I'm just sitting here, walking around the submarine or on my phone, while because the North Sea is it's really boring. Um, and we can even go into complete stop, and then let the sonar guy, give him an additional sailor to help him complete his task here, because there's only 2 in that slot. The same room can only fit 2 people. 1, 2, right? Increases the, let's see, give you the statistics. No, let me see. So it increases by listening by 25%. And sometimes, like I said before, he'll still get a contact outside, well beyond that hydrophone range. So, yeah, we're at like at 0 knots. Engines are off. Or, yeah, the electric engines are off. You can, I can pop in here manually, rotate the wheel myself, control the volume. Yep, nothing.
Herr Kaloy?
Clean sweep.
Schneller, schneller!
So probably just, stay at this depth. Probably for maybe an hour of game time. Yeah, because you don't want to mess around with planes. So I'll speed this up. Times 5. Yoink, yoink, yoink. So now we're entering the North Sea. So they broke it down to, so that, time's passing. That's just, that's the predicted patrol. It's paused, on pause. So you have basically, because it's a huge map, the game will, load the North Sea more or less. And when you get closer to port, it will load, the shore and then the base, in that fashion. And then, there's the alarm state. I think, for instance, you can only times 5 maybe 30 minutes at a time when you're in travel mode in worldview like this. I think it's maybe like, an hour to like your second in real life, I guess, to pass time. That's how that works. So we're just gonna speed up here. And see, as we're sitting here, you got the alarm because the airplane, and then you have the fatigue level, current depth. But I left the normal lighting on, which is a +10, so that disciplines that I have an hour till it drops to 0 and somebody loses their shit, for lack of better words. And then the oxygen 50, so it's about an hour. So they're chilling here. And what happens is, usually when it's been a while and the contact kind of pisses off or creates distance isn't there anymore, the time compression stops automatically. So in case you hit the time compression 5 and he gets a contact, automatically reverse back to, no time compression, so you can react and make tactical decisions, etc., etc. So if you look over here, the captain's on the map there. It's now back at 100%. It was falling back down to at least like 50 or so. Coal on the ground, submerged at 50. It's about 03 or 0320 in the morning. So as always, go to periscope depth before popping up to the surface. You increase the speed.
Schneller, schneller!
There's obviously no ships around here. So I mean that's the gist of it. I'm gonna keep it recording because my editing skills aren't that amazing. We'll just cut out the boring parts. Yeah, see, he's about dead. Oh, lightning, yay. And obviously weather affects the sight circles because it's dark and it's raining. The visibility is maybe less than 900 meters. Quite terrible. Go ahead and surface. So the battery's only gonna last another 9 minutes at this speed. The oxygen's down pretty bad. Went from, obviously gorgeous to shitty rain and darkness. The game did, switch to diesel engines by itself. Battery's gonna get charged, diesel engines are flipping on, and oxygen's being recharged. Discipline is going back up because everybody's happy that the first mate is, he's cooking. And then, the possibility of us going back to base is, a thing. So that's 5+. So that's how that works. We just haven't sunk anything. Previously in this patrol, bumped into another U-boat that requested, fresh vegetables or whatever. I actually had some on hand, so I got points for that. But yeah, you do have to do. It's like you gotta tell this mud trucker to actually go back to sleep. You gotta go back here and press that diesel compressor. Because right now it's at 58%. If you do not have compressed air, you know how a submarine works. It uses compressed air to push out, the ballast tanks, and that's how, a submarine dives. It's flooding the ballast tanks right here on the side, and then pushing the air or the water completely back out the surface, etc. If you don't have that, then you're kind of stuck in the bottom or underneath the waves. You can still surface and just take a while, and then you're screwing your battery done. Alright, so now he's he's on the deck here. He's on the EZO. We're gonna add 2 sailors to increase the sight range. And so I think, let's see here. You can tell how many, I like looking at over here, and also over here, he has 0 sailors on him right now. Same here. Same here. Same here. This guy still has 2 guys, and he's cooking. He doesn't need them, so they're idle, so they can go away. And you have to watch that because if you, like I didn't pay attention to that, I had 4 sailors, working or additionally under the officers. So I got too much work from officers, -1 a minute. But obviously, since it's cooking, no more lighting, and the potential to going back to base outweighs the fatigue and too much work from the officers, we're going to still positively accumulate, discipline. It'll be full, or this one will be back on 100% in 15 minutes according to the numbers at the bottom. So you heard that ding. The submarine is already turning off into that direction somewhere. So yeah, now I just kind of I'm gonna start, it's already 11 days at sea for crying out loud. So we're already at 81% fuel consumed. They're now diving into the 47 pulled pork, if you will. So it's 47 units. And then 47 divided by 6 units per day. I think it's like 8 days off the top of my head. Yeah, it's about 8. 7.8. So about 8 round up. Yep. So it's about 8 days. Which I'm willing to do to try to at least record something interesting other than me just talking and explaining the game. So you see the compressed air levels is rising to 89%. See it bump up to 90%. And you got the little diesel compressor going. Pretty cool. It shuts off automatically. You don't have to do that yourself. You can, but that's pretty boring to me. All right, so you did see me. Obviously, we dove because of the airplane contrail. But occasionally, every couple 200 miles or so, I'll have them dive to periscope depth of 30 meters and let the sonar guy do his job. Because historically speaking, good or bad weather, that's how U-boats usually or occasionally, you know, detected convoys or ships or whatever, just through the hydrophone slash listening room. Hearing them off in the distance because, water carries sound, blah, blah, blah. A lot further through the water than the air. Yeah, so let's see here. It says we have 9,700 kilometers remaining of usage. There's 100 right. There's about 200. Yeah, 400. We'll say. No, I kind of don't want to go that way. Maybe go up here. So the entire 11 days I've been out here, I've even been down here to help out another submarine. I even skirted the coast. All I saw was patrol boats. Not a convoy in sight. Let's see here. Yeah, so maybe we'll turn this sucker. Maybe I'll punch down here one more time, and we'll go back around and patrol an AF maybe. Yeah, so we'll go here. That's 100, 300, 6.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
6, 7, 8. So it'll be like 800. It'll bring us down to, 1,100 kilograms of fuel remaining. And let's see here. It gives. I'm willing to burn food, so. Because I want to go back empty handed, No going. Alright, so let's do this. Stop talking about it. So you have that nice audible ticking sound. Lets you know you have your compression going. It's basically a second every half hour, I think, or hour. So the radio guy is basically about to die, so you tell him to go to the rack. Navigation guy is navigating, so we're at 59%. We'll jack that back up to 100. We have an officer or a captain with 2 additional crew, so our sight circle is as big as it's gonna get. I don't know why. I told this guy to go to sleep, he just doesn't want to go to sleep. And then we have our chief engineer, modern engine. I'm not gonna add any additional sailors right now because we're going half speed, kind of stays at 19 or 20 knots. So if you add sailors, give them a maximum amount of 2 or 3 sailors, I think. Yeah, so right now you can only do 2. And as they gain experience and get promoted, you can I guess almost unlock the potential of the engine and go faster as opposed to only being able to go flying speed. You can go ultra or whatever. Do some time compression here. Another thing that I don't like compared to this submarine pin, compared to the one down the south that you start off in, is you have to really manually drive this boat and to the port. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when we get there, which I think I'll do anyway, is kind of reset the map and all that stuff. Because I think after a while when you're done, like the game, I don't think is gonna have as many ships actively as in the beginning of your patrol. I don't know. But down here, it's Port Rochelle, if you will, Port of Lacherie, Lacherie. I don't know French. It's a big open port, and you just guide your boat into the side of it. Obviously, it's not as you don't have to maneuver around as much crap as you do in this one. So, and you'll probably see that here in a minute. So let's see here. Fuel's about well, that's not right. Oh yeah, it is. So it's 8,700. I said 8,100. They're at 37 units for that particular food. So I'm going to still sit out here in shitty weather looking for. Let's see. You know what we can do is we'll dive 30 meters as usual.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Down we go.
Herr Kaloi?
Wir sind schon so lange auf See. Ich halte nicht
Kapitän?
mehr aus.
Jawohl. Zu Befehl.
Yeah, so for early access, even before the patches, it's a pretty fun game. The campaign / sandbox stuff wasn't as stable. It is now. So I'm more or less testing, the upgrades and stuff like that. Before, if you tried to apply the upgrades, the game would kind of break. But now I'm utilizing, more efficient batteries, and because utilizing the toilet at deeper depths increases the morale. So, and of course, using decoys, which I haven't used yet. I have no experience in that matter. I understand the purpose, but I have not used them in game yet. So I personally like to, listen every once in a while, because I'm not so sure if, the AI will detect it if it actually hears something. But, he is, like, that's one of his skills, is detecting 25% out of the range or whatever. That's obviously our backwash. Yeah, it's pretty quiet out there.
Herr Kaloi?
Yeah, for the most part, the crew runs, the boat pretty efficiently. You don't have to tell them to do every little thing. It's like the little things, what to manage. Flicking the depth reader on, switching the lights. You're managing the food. Turning on the air or the diesel compressor to recharge the ballast tanks. That's the only thing that's you have to do repetitively. You can tell him to start preheating the torpedoes, but as soon as you get an alarm, the game does a really good job of the crew acting accordingly, if that makes sense. If there's a bunch of ships and their alarms are rocking, people are gonna start running around. The guy will start preheating the torpedoes. People will start diving or manning the stations to dive. And all that good trash. So you're not like sitting there wasting like precious time telling one guy to do a particular task at a time. So yeah, I guess we'll slow it down to
Wir sind schon so lange auf See.
5 knots. Probably cruise for probably 2 hours and pop back up. So that's more than 2 hours. Going on, yeah. Still nada. Ah, boy. So we'll surface. Gauge more speed.
Schneller, schneller!
You can go this way. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go back and forth because I don't think we're gonna see anything. We'll be lucky if we do, honestly.
Legen Sie den Kurs an.
So surfacing and all that stuff.
Wechseln auf
Yeah,
Dieselmotor.
so I could just hit time compression and then zip across the ocean back to base. However, still have to like rotate the watch, i.e. the officer wise, like the crew does it himself, but still, I'm gonna be going back to base with the. I'd like to have the increased ability to increase the liability,
Kapitän,
increase the probability of spotting, a convoy or some ships.
Herr Kaloy.
Yeah,
Herr Kaloy.
so we're, if you look up here with the mouse, 79% navigation correctness. So we'll have the navigator
Aye, aye, Herr Kaloy.
correct. We'll have the captain go up top. 2 additional sailors. And we'll drop a sailor off of here because he's the radio. Sometimes our headquarters will send a radio transmission. Sometimes the game, I think, will be nice about prompting you like, hey, they're trying to send you a message. Sometimes, you'll get it sooner than later if you were able, obviously, if you got a guy reminding you to man the radio. So you gotta come back here and turn on, that compressed air compressor. Obviously, I'm sure somebody will turn it on if it gets lower than 50%. But when you're doing all sorts of maneuvering and changing your depth, this, that, and the other thing, especially when you're trying to outlast and survive depth charge attacks, you're gonna wish you had 100%. So yeah. Now that we did that, we're gonna, just Star Trek patrol is what I call it. This guy should go to sleep. God bless your soul. Yeah, so at this point, in the forums, people complain like, hey, I got patrolling. They do their dives and they listen every couple hundred kilometers or miles, whatever you want to say. They still get no contacts. Myself, I've received. See, now we're at 15 days at sea. That's a pretty long time. What's the food look like? That's my main concern. And this boogered fog. 23 units already from 37. And I think it's been 5 days, which isn't too bad, but still. I'm going to replace the captain because he's dead-ass tired. Navigation's pretty soft, so let him sleep. The radioman sleep. It's foggy. The watch will have to, manage. We'll have this guy with at least 2 sailors man the engine, so we get more bang for our buck. So if you zoom in here, like, look at that. Sight circle's not even like 100. It's like, you zoom in close. That's the submarine right there. It's maybe like a couple hundred meters. So, yeah. Oh
Legen Sie
man.
den Kurs an.
All right, so going back to port. The nice thing is though is if you come back, like there's a bunch of side taskers you completed, so you still gain some income, even if it's just like reconnaissance stuff. You know, you're reporting, you know, patrol, you know, like basically I got a bunch of points on this one, just reporting, you know, hunter killer groups, which is at this point in the war is maybe like one destroyer and like 4 corvettes. You know, and you don't want, I don't want to play with that. So we'll just, you know, what kind of gets annoying here at this port is you'll see the shore of North Sea is loading, and you know, put it at 15, and it just takes forever. Look how slow we're going. And jack it up to like full speed ahead, get 25 knots. So because it's like not in travel mode, and we're like shore, seaside shore, I guess, area, you know, the time travel, I mean, at times 5 is a lot slower. So that's how that goes. How long have I been recording? I'll probably just cut it out. Of course, I've been talking the whole time, explaining everything. Oh, thank God, travel mode. Please just let me. Oh, nope. Yeah, so I think because this port, it's kind of an option to go to this minor charter as a main mission. I'm pretty sure maybe they advised or they haven't really touched this side of the map yet, and they've probably just been working over, you know, down here on the west coast, in the Celtic Sea and whatnot, the Bay of Biscay. Another thing I like compared to the other games, from what I remember anyways, is that so if I want to make waypoints holding down shift, yeah, it goes red because, oh, guess what? That's land, idiot. So you can't, you know, plotting points and have it land intersect your spots. I suppose the previous games they let you do that. Say at this level of zoom, you wouldn't see that body of land, and you go crashing into the freaking island or whatever. I gotta love it.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Nah. It was stop recording. Start recording once we get back.